Hello YouTube, and welcome aboard the Kawanishi J6K1 Jinpu. This is a semi-rare Tier 4 event premium for Japan, sitting at a battle rating of 6.0. I'm not going to beat around the bush. In my opinion, this thing is objectively one of the best prop fighters in War Thunder. It's really got it all: speed, agility, energy retention, and to top it all off, an armament so ridiculous I had to do a double take when I first saw it on the stat card. 2 close-mounted 13.2mm heavy machine guns, along with 6 20mm cannons. Suffice to say, anything foolish or unlucky enough to get in front of you won't be flying for long. Now, usually I would warn against diving for bombers at the beginning of a game, but in the J6K1, it really doesn't matter. This plane doesn't have the greatest climb rate to begin with, but you really don't need any altitude advantage to do well in it. I know that sounds like heresy, but truly, the J6K1 is an airframe that lets you take crazy risks and just get away with it. It kind of feels like a Mitsubishi Zero that stocked up on whey protein and started hitting the gym. All the extra muscle does mean it loses a bit of that turning agility, but in exchange, this thing is surprisingly fast in a straight line. That means you can actually catch up to enemies and run away from them if it comes down to it, which the Zero struggles with. Combine that with triple the firepower of the Zero, and you have yourself the perfect brawling fighter at the superprop tier. The J6K1 fits my aggressive playstyle perfectly. It's most at home in the eye of the storm, right in the middle of the hectic furball, and if left unchecked, it will easily decimate the entire enemy team, just as this enemy team is about to find out the hard way.
The enemy's getting closer to victory.
For me, the bread and butter killing maneuver while flying the J6K1 is a high angle deflection shot. This thing can keep its nose on target through some crazy maneuvers. If you're flying against the J6K1, my advice is to keep your speed and avoid a turn fight at all costs, because unless you're in a Spitfire Mark 9, you are not getting inside this thing's turning circle. Now, one of the J6K1's most important features is the pair of 13.2mm machine guns. The 20mm cannons are powerful, but the rounds are low velocity and have horrible damage at range. The machine guns, on the other hand, feel like extra thick American 50 cals. You can try for sniping shots up to over a kilometer, and if you're lucky, sometimes a single bullet is enough to set the enemy on fire. Usually, it's at least enough to spook the enemy and make them turn, which lets you reel them back in to cannon range. This time the AK-15 does the smart thing. He keeps running. We'll come back to him later. Now, everything that I've said so far regarding the J6K1's flight performance is, of course, assuming the enemy is even aware of you. If they're all tunnel-visioned on your teammates, like they so often are, well, then it just becomes a slaughter. There's a reason this is my favorite go-to silver line grinder. Don't get me wrong, though. The J6K1 is far from overpowered. All it takes is a single Spitfire, or a couple of competent boom and zoom fighters, and it'll have a bad day. In particular, the US Navy fighters, such as the F4U-4B and the F8F-1B, can give this thing a run for its money if flown competently. Competent being the key word. Unfortunately, despite my ace, this particular game does not have a happy ending. See, while the enemy fighters were busy distracting us, the enemy bombers were doing their job. Keep an eye on that ticket counter. The Kawanishi J6K1 is an absolute monster, and one of my personal favorite planes of War Thunder. If you have some Gaijin coins to spare and you're looking for a Japanese premium, look no further. Thanks for watching.